saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years.
What was she mad about in the first place? I mean, I don't go into a pub and grab the mayor and start challenging him about how many people work at any given employer.
I think that I think it had something to do with the person that she was with and a business that person may be involved with that may have had some problems with the city. But I do not hold that against the people that own that business, or if this person is a minority owner, because I think they're good people, and I don't want to any more than I don't really want to get them involved just by association.
Okay, Mayor, I've got to say this. I'll preface it by saying I don't believe that putting a card in a pocket of an individual saying, call me, and that individual won't accept the card, I don't think that's a form of sexual harassment. I don't think that putting it in the pocket of an individual where now they're claiming you touched their breast is sexual assault. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't, but I didn't put it in. I never did put it in pocket. I mean, I was reaching, I tried to hand it to her a couple times, and I don't know if to be honest with you, if there's any video or not, but if I actually would have actually made any type of contact with this person. But again, I think here, when I'm the mayor, if somebody wants to come up and talk to me, I don't just brush them off. I try to talk to them. I think that's only the right thing to do. And but again, I have. I want to mention one other thing too, is that although this episode has some bad things associated with it, I'm absolutely humbled by all of the comments and the people that have reached out to me to tell me they don't believe this. What can we do to support you? We don't buy it for a moment. I have people that I don't even, that I don't recognize that have come up to me. As a matter of fact, I go to the gym in the morning, our local Two Rivers Activity Center, and a lady came up to me this morning to talk to me about it. And I felt bad because I thought it was almost like she was going to start crying. She was so upset that someone would do this. But I do, if I could, also, the people in Jamestown know me. Few people in Fargo don't know me. And I would just like to, and I think if you talk to people here that know me, know that I don't talk about myself much. But I would like to have the people that are listening here, when they're putting this into perspective, I would like to know them to know who Dwayne Heinrich is, if you would allow me to do that.
Hold on. Let's do that. Let's make sure you get an opportunity to do that, which is the reason I called you yesterday in the first place. But first, I've got to find out what's going on in our weather out there with the number one meteorologist listened to in the countryside here, and that's Too Tall Tom Szymanski.
All right, thanks. We just got a few clouds rolling on in from the west. Northwest South Dakota, south central, southwest North Dakota, getting a little bit of cloud cover. Some of that will float eastward. So in general, across the entire area, clear to partly cloudy conditions today. There are wind chill headlines in effect for nearly the entire tri-state area right on into at least midday tomorrow. So any amount of wind with these cold temperatures will drive those wind chills way down there. Highs today ranging from 12 below to 12 above from north to south, 36 below in the far north and some low-lying and protected areas, to 6 below in the south. Most of us will be in the 20s and to near 30, 32, 33 below tonight. Very cold. 10 below to 30 above from north to south tomorrow. And chances for light snow Moving across the area tomorrow, mainly in far northern North Dakota toward the northwest corner of Minnesota by late afternoon. After that, we'll have another chance for light snow for tomorrow night. Temperatures across the region, everybody's below zero except for the far western part of South Dakota, where a few places are just barely above. So I'll just give you the number right now. Minneapolis 1, Rochester 0, 14 in Bemidji. It is 11 in Alexandria and International Falls at 15. 1 in Sioux Falls, 11 right now in Watertown, and currently in Pier 4. 4 as well in Dickinson, 15 in Williston. Again, these are all below zero. 11 in Minot, 5 in Bismarck, 17 in Devils Lake, 11 in Jamestown, 17 in Grand Forks. Right now, Wahpeton, Breckenridge at 11 and 13 in Fargo. Two tallest town of the day, Minto, North Dakota, 11 below. I'm meteorologist Tom Szymanski from the News and Views Regional Weather Cave.
Thank you, Tom. Let's find out who Dwayne Heinrich is. He's mayor of Jamestown. We know that. Let's find out who he is as a person when we come back here on News and Views. we're having a conversation with the mayor of Jamestown, Dwayne Heinrich, and he had been accused of through the Fargo media, through a hotline or a tip line or whatever, of sexual assault. And we're making sure that he has an opportunity to say from his perspective what happened. And so the one thing I think that he pointed out fairly is that many of the people listening don't know him. And he said he'd like the opportunity to tell people who he is. Go ahead, Mayor. Do just that.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Well, I grew up really with nothing. I graduated from high school in Audubon, Minnesota in 1966, where I was fortunate enough to go to school with some of the best people you could ever ask for, and we remain friends to this day. My senior year in high school, I worked 3 nights a week at the North Star Dairy in Detroit Lakes, which was a milk powdering plant, dry milk plant, from 11 to 7. In July of 66, I enlisted in the U.S. Army. On January 15th of 1967, at halftime of the first Super Bowl game, we left from Oakland Army Terminal for nearby Travis Air Force Base for a 2-day trip on an Air Force cargo plane to Vietnam, sitting backwards in the airplane on canvas straps. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not a war hero. I worked with some, and I do not want to take anything away from true heroes. However, Vietnam was to be my home for the next 19 months, a time that included both my 19th and 20th birthdays. I was in Hue City in February 1968 when the North Vietnamese flag was flying over the citadel. I became an acting first sergeant when my friend was killed, and I held that position until I left in August. My Social Security statement shows gross income for 1967 of $1,667. After I got out of the Army, I attended college for 4 years, working summer on road construction jobs and driving school bus and working as a security guard during the school year. I did receive GI Bill benefits, which were very nominal at that time. After I graduated from college, I went to work for a large company. And after about 8 years, I was able to save enough money to open my own company, which has now been in operation for 42 years. I have been involved in service clubs, fraternal organizations, other volunteer and religious affiliate organizations. I have been in hundreds and likely thousands of homes in North Dakota. Never has there been a suggestion of improper behavior on my part, and I welcome anyone to check with any former employees or any of the people I've worked with in any position.
Mayor, I'm going to run out of time here, but I've got to ask you this, because your resume, quite frankly, the people are impressed. I know, the service that you've done and the way you've built up your company, and I mean, it's quite impressive. But do you feel you were treated, because this all stemmed from a report from Valley News Live here in Fargo, and this is their tip line that they were basing everything off of. Do you think that they treated you fair, that they gave you an opportunity, or is this just sensationalism?
Well, certainly they did not treat me fair, and I would just say that if there's anyone at Valley News Live that has a conscience, I just please want them to think tonight before they go to bed. Let what they have tried to do to me through malfeasance or intent, I don't know. I would just like them to think about that and let that be their last thought before they go to sleep tonight. And if they ever come to Jamestown, I can't make any promises, but I will do my best to protect them from my wife.
Okay. I just, from our standpoint, I know there's a lot of question marks here in the Fargo media on that. And so I wanted to make sure you got a chance. Mayor, thank you for coming on and explaining your position. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Jamestown Mayor Dwayne Heinrich, ladies and gentlemen. That tip line, the whole, gee, now we've got something we want, right? The mayor's been accused of sexual assault. Was there any investigation into whether or not the woman was drunk? Was there any investigation into why the woman was treating him that way? Was there any investigation into why the woman would have done that, or maybe what she had done in the past in regards to situations like this? I don't know. I know this, that in the realm of journalism, that's something you should do, right? It's a whole lot different, folks, when you're sitting here having a conversation versus pretending you're journalists. When we come back, Chief Dave Zibolski, right after this.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790
Couch Potato Radio. Did
JJ
you
Gordon
see
from
that
It
game?
Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this
Paul
morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Welcome back to the News and Views Radio Network. Joel Heitkamp and Derek Hansen today right here. And so we get a chance to be with you each and every day. I want to thank you for making us number one. That's right. The ratings are in, and you kept us there. And I do appreciate that, because without you, it wouldn't happen. It's that plain and simple. Also, part of what we're going to discuss today is this 30 on 30. I didn't know very much about it. But it's an initiative through the Biden administration that has a lot of farmers and ranchers scratching their head, and some saying, whoa, people are way overreacting to it. And so we're going to broach it. We're going to talk about it today. Fargo Police Chief Dave Zibolski is in studio with me now. Recently, many of you seen, you've read, you've heard all about some of the things that went along with Chief Zibolski. And one of the suggestions a lot of people had was, I know how busy you are, but let's talk. Let's get a chance to talk more. Well, I can't complain because he's in studio right now. Chief, thanks for coming on in.
Thanks, Joel. Happy to be on the number one show.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that. I want to begin this way. And, viciousness is the key to my job. How'd the Packers do in the playoffs?
They disappointed greatly.
He's from Wisconsin, ladies and gentlemen.
Tough.
He's from Wisconsin.
2 years in a row, Joel.
The reason I do this is because I have all these family members that just beat the ever-living crap out of me after the Vikings didn't make the playoffs. And so then it's like, do I text back and say, look, we won as many playoff games as you did? Or how do I? But it didn't work out anyway. I just... When you don't make the playoffs, it's a bad year. It really is. So, Chief, want to talk about some of the initiatives that you've been talking about, some of the new online reporting. Tell people about this.
Sure. So this is a computer program that folks will be able to go online from our website to report a wide variety of crimes that don't necessarily require an officer present, to do an investigation or collect evidence. A lot of your simple thefts from autos, things that are taken out of your yard, shoplifting complaints where they don't have someone detained, and a number of other similar types of crimes. So the website will have, if you call dispatch and you have one of these crimes, you'll be deferred to this website so that you can report it at your convenience. It'll still go to the department. It'll be vetted. And, as long as all the elements are there and everything is acceptable, it will add into our crime count. If there's any kind of follow-up that the supervisor looks at and notices, that can be passed along to an officer to follow up on. But looking at our data, that's going to take about 6,500 calls for service away from our officers, which, if each one takes an hour, and I think very simply each one probably takes about an hour, that's almost 3 full-time positions of work. So I think it's another way to not only make things more convenient for the community in a certain variety of crimes, but it takes some of these lower-level calls off of the call for service queue that the officers have to deal with.
Are you worried at all about anything falling through the cracks here?
No, the person reviewing it is going to be a law enforcement supervisory type person. So, we're still going to get those same reports. I would expect we'll probably get more reports because just from a convenience perspective, I think a lot of times people don't even bother reporting things stolen out of their yard because they don't expect it'll be found. But, actually doing that helps us because we get that information. We stop someone or we stop a car or a vehicle and look, there's the blue bike in the area or, the tools and things of that nature that they might just write off to insurance. So, I think along with it, we might see an increase in those reported types of crimes.
I agree with you there. I think a lot of people don't report things based upon the attitude that, hey, it's not going to matter anyway.
Right.
And maybe this will help. There's that many incidents though.
Oh yeah, just last year alone, we just in the categories that we've identified, 6,500 calls, and so I think that's a baseline, and I think it'll probably expand as we identify other things. There's a lot of different things that come up, like the rental car contracts, and at what point are those actually stolen cars versus not a stolen car? And so there's a lot of things that as we go through our calls for service, and our officers are providing a lot of insight about even civil matters. Civil matters really shouldn't involve the police, but historically we've gone to a lot of those calls. And I'm not talking about something where there's a threat or someone's in danger, but it's really just a simple civil matter that should be referred somewhere else and not to an officer. So we're really taking a deep dive on those calls and trying to identify, what's no longer necessary for a cop, and so we can concentrate on what is.
Well, and your force is down, as are many forces. I get that. You're in the recruitment phase in many ways, but if you can save some of those hours, I would guess that's going to be very helpful.
Absolutely. That turns, some proactive time over to the officers. It also allows for the prioritization of, the life safety calls. I think it takes the stress off of them too, because, if you're a cop driving around out there and you're on a call and you see that there's these other calls pending, even though no one's in danger and they might be lower priority, I think that there's an internal stress to them that, well, I got to try and answer those if I can, even though I'm busy doing something right in front of me. And so we're trying to alleviate that kind of perspective and let them know, look, we want you to concentrate on these important things, life safety calls, these investigations that are going to identify and arrest people who will otherwise commit other crimes and victimize other people. That's also a big part of our new crime analysts and the piece that they're going to play in the department in helping identify those trends, identify those people, so that we are focused on those issues. And overall, that's going to reduce crime because it's a small amount of people who commit a lot of crime.
Crime's up. I mean, deaths are up. I mean, I was reading a report today on where New York City has gone recently. And, of course, we've all been tracking where Chicago is. And most of the media, the national media coming out of New York, it's like, well, crime is really up in New York. Well, what took you so long? Many places have been experiencing that, and they haven't covered it. They haven't talked about it.
Yeah, and I think here we're really fortunate because we're not seeing the surges that some of these other cities are, and there's a lot of different things going on in those cities that help precipitate that as well. Some of the, the bail reform measures that put people right back on the street to commit these crimes, prosecutorial issues where, certain prosecutors in some cities aren't prosecuting crimes, which means they just go unabated and people keep committing them. And those kinds of things are not generally healthy for your public safety. And it's very frustrating for the cops because they know these are issues that we could prevent. We could prevent other victimization, and these should somehow be addressed, but they're not. And I think that's a large part of these cities where you're seeing that type of activity.
So do you have a problem here with communication with local prosecutors? Are they not doing their job?
No, I think here we have, as far as I know, very good working relationship with our state's attorneys and our city attorneys. We are focused and we've taken a hard look at internally at what can we do to put a better case together for the prosecutor. And we identified some report issues that we could do better as a department. It's really just a training thing that will help the prosecutor have a stronger case, kind of cover all those bases. So that's an ongoing process that we've been working on, but we don't have prosecutors here telling us we're not going to issue A, B, and C, okay, or not taking those cases to court.
I want to talk a little bit about the career fairs. I've been hearing some of that. Walk me through it.
So our training and development unit, again, we were really trying everything possible to recruit, and we're in competition, obviously, with everyone else. But we have a really good unit there. They go out to other areas. They're going up to UND. They're going out to Alexandria, Bemidji, Bismarck, trying to hit all these different career fairs looking for good law enforcement candidates. And it's almost it's a chess match in a sense, who gets there, who gets the good candidates, and who can get them through the process quicker. Because the other thing is, who's got a process that's been made efficient. If I'm a good law enforcement applicant and I have to wait 6 months to get on your department, by then someone else is going to grab me. So, it's finding them, identifying them, kind of mentoring them along, and then getting them in.
So oftentimes with law enforcement, they get into it for all the right reasons. I get that. But in the end, they got to pay the mortgage too.
Right.
It comes down to, what type of money you're making. The city of Fargo in its police force do a lot better than many county deputies, for example. Do you guys ever think about pirating each other a little bit? Do you ever think about going there and saying, look, we need help?
Well, actually, that's been an ongoing issue. A lot of our people that work at RPD now started as a jailer at the county or worked at the county and vice versa. So we do make use of those pools. We've had folks that have gone through our academy and at the end of it have joined Cass County or another agency too, just for preference purposes. So, there is a lot of give and take. And even with the people that we've hired, they're coming from other places. One of our crime analysts actually came from state BCI, and now they're working for us. So that's actually a continual.
My
thing.
guess is you're ribbing each other a lot.
Pretty
over
much,
some
yeah.
of those
We're
things.
always at each other's heels.
So, Chief, when it comes to the job that you have to do in the end of the day, when people hear these numbers and they hear that the numbers are down, does this become a situation where they should fear that there aren't enough law enforcement officers to do the job?
Right. No, there's no reason for our community to be afraid whatsoever. Our cops are out there every day handling these priority life safety calls. On some of these lower level calls, they might have to wait a little longer than maybe folks are used to. But again, getting the online in process is going to help with that. But absolutely, if there's a life safety issue, our folks are there. They're helping each other out across the board. And they're still finding time for some really great proactive work. I mean, in the last few weeks alone, we've arrested multiple people in stolen vehicles, felons with illegal guns, and really just good police work, from traffic stops to foot chases. So I think really they're highly motivated, and I'm really impressed with the work they're doing. I'm
sitting here looking at your flyer that you have out there that that you're using to recruit. You title it "Join the Leader." And what Fargo has to offer, what the salary range is. I mean, if you're sitting there and you're looking at law enforcement, the flyer that you have out there is definitely going to get their attention. But my guess is everybody else is doing it too.
Yeah, we're in competition. I think one thing that we offer is our tuition-free academy. And so for other agencies in general, there's one academy in Bismarck that everyone has to send folks to. And I think this is a challenge that we have one leg up on, because we can bring in a group of folks, and we've got 25 really good folks starting on May 5th to go through our academy. It's the same post academy you get in Bismarck, with the addition of you're steeped in our department, our vision, mission, and values, our policies. So when you get done, you're in a position to be hired and move right to field training, and then on to solo patrol. So that, for us, is a way that we've created a lot of efficiencies.
Does it cost anything to do this?
It costs us in terms of our staff and our time, but it doesn't cost the person attending
So there's
anything.
no tuition, anything
No,
like that?
not at all.
Can they take those skills, and are they committing, if they go to your academy, are they committing to work for you?
Well, we work to get them committed to us. That's obviously our goal. But again, because we don't hire them at that juncture, we're offering this opportunity. There are some that at the end might decide to go to a different agency that's maybe not as busy or as large.
It's the risk you take.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to sound like a complete hypocrite, because for me, the one thing that I've felt, and I've spoke to a lot on this show, has been that I think there's people sitting in jail that don't need to be sitting in jail. And I want to talk to you about that a little bit, and give you a chance to counter that, because my suspicion is we're not always going to agree on that. So stick around if you would, Chief.
Sure.
Give me a little more time, but I've got to head into the weather cave and find Mr. Too Tall Tom Szymanski.
Partly to mostly sunny across the region today. We're looking at temperatures anywhere from 12 below to 12 above for highs. A cold day, high pressure overhead, and wind chill headlines in effect not only today and tonight, but also into probably at least the first part of the daytime tomorrow for most of us, as wind chills today, tonight, and tomorrow will be in the 30s and 40s below during the nighttime hours, and early morning tomorrow there could be some places that even get below 50 below in some areas up north. And temperature-wise tonight, 36 below the donut to about 6 below the donut, and tomorrow 10 below to about 30 above from north to south. There will be a chance for a little bit of light snow midday and afternoon, mainly across northern North Dakota, but it won't be much to worry about. Chances for some of that light snow with a breeze moves in for tomorrow night as well, followed by a drier day on Friday. Current temperatures, well, chilly everywhere. 3 below Minneapolis right now. Rochester at the donut. Fergus Falls 8 below. Detroit Lakes 13 below. 13 below Thief River Falls, and 15 below in Roseau. Right now, Sioux Falls is 1 below the donut. Pierre 4 below. Mobridge 0. 4 below right now in Dickinson. 15 below in Williston. 11 below right now in Minot. And 5 below in Bismarck. It's 11 below right now in Grafton, and also in Wahpeton, Breckenridge. 17 below in Grand Forks, 15 below in Valley City, and 13 below in Fargo. Too tallest town of the day, Minto, North Dakota. 12 below. I'm meteorologist Tom Szymanski from the News and Views Regional Weather Cave.
Thank you, Tom. The Cruiser, though, that is sponsored by the North Dakota Farmers Union, the North Dakota Association of Rural Electric Cooperatives, Pifers, Auction, Realty, and Land Management, Nilson Brand Law, and Broadband Association of North Dakota. More with Chief Zibolski. And here's the big question, folks. He knows I'm going to ask him, and so do you, which is, do we have people sitting in our jails that need to be in our jails? We'll talk about it right after this.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall, Tom.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Welcome back to the News and Views Radio Network. Fargo Police Chief Dave Zibolski is in studio. We've been talking about the career fair and the opportunities, one of the reasons. But, these conversations always tend to go in different directions. And so Chief, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I have said many times, though, that I don't believe that people who get caught smoking marijuana belong in jail for months upon months upon months. That, violent crimes with, maybe heavier drugs. I mean, what is for a person like you who sees a crowded jail and wants people in it that need to be put in it? How does that work out? How do you work with the prosecutors?
Well, it's, the prosecutors in terms of their charging decisions and the judges in terms of their dispositions that's really their venue to decide those things. But in terms of who's in jail and who's not in jail, I mean, there's a lot of evidence-based research around risk analysis of people. So as you would say, someone who maybe just can't afford a bail but would otherwise appear in court and is not a threat to the community or a threat to repeat their crime, I would agree doesn't need to be sitting in jail. However, the other side of the coin is there are people who are a threat to the community who will repeat and who won't come back to court. And the other side of that evidence-based research is for them, there is no bail until they go to their trial. And so that's a big thing, but there's a lot of information and research out there on that particular topic. And there's been a lot of different ways in which has been implemented outside of an evidence-based approach in a lot of different communities from, okay, we're going to, for example, all misdemeanors, no one has to pay bail. Well, you throw out the whole risk analysis of the individual because it all goes back to a small amount of people committing a lot of crime in our community. And so if you aren't making that, because it's not by crime.
So you took away the common sense.
Right.
Is what you just said.
Right. And there's some science behind that risk analysis. So I think there's a good way to do it. It requires work and effort. And, there's also people that have mental health and addiction issues that might be served in better environments other than the jail. And I think law enforcement has been asking for that assistance for a long time. And a lot of other community partners. Sometimes that takes time and money. I mean, talk about the state hospital essentially closing or being so short-staffed that we can't put anyone there, even though there's no other place to put someone who really can't function in society. We know something else bad's going to happen, but we got nowhere to go.
Well, and two things instantly come to mind there: the workforce and cost. If they're in your jail, it's costing you money to be in your jail. If they're in jail, they're out of the workforce. And so I just think we need to do what you said, which is take a real look at what type of a risk they are. Everybody fears that one guy. One guy that gets out because of conversations like the one we're having, and the next thing you know, he does something, and everybody goes, see? Heitkamp was wrong. He should have been in jail. So, Chief, always good to talk to you. Let's do it again soon.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Chief Dave Zibolski, ladies and gentlemen. 30 by 30. What does this mean? Let's talk about it when we come back.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see
from
that?
It Takes Two.
Doug here with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
790.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.